Hi everyone! Hello! I wanted to play nice music and I don't dare to, but welcome everyone! I will check that the sound, I hope my sound is clear and good enough. And I did some test runs this afternoon, so I can now at ease start with at least fixed audio and a better mic settings. So welcome everyone, I'm back. It's so nice to be back again. And I will wait a bit until maybe more people will pop in. Hey, hi Lee, hallo, hello Alice. En nog dank je voor die feedback vanmiddag. Hoe is het geluid? I am very curious how is the sound? I did a bit of Easter background, and again I noticed my hair looks very reddish, but it is more hazelnut brown now. So I hoped it would show in the live, and I will explain later on why I choose today to change my hair color again. Welcome everyone. Oh, I am so happy and I feel so blessed with be able to go live, because I can have, as many of you know who follow me, I have hard times living in a crowded house with dear family, but craving for my own space. But I am so ontzettend grateful for that. I have now the capacity to go live in the evening every Thursday. Of course, when I am dog and cat sitting, then it might skip a week, but I even want to try to go live where I am then. So let's find out. Hey everyone, I wish I had my beautiful music of Seize the Day, and I have to find out if I might even approach that artist, because it's one of the most beautiful songs ever for my live streams. I also am joined by this cat, a Lego cat I built already now 2 years ago. Hi Thea! Hello for me to be me for. What a nice usernames all. Hello, hello, and welcome. Well, this is fully English. And I'm also live on Instagram and maybe even on Rumble. I did add the streaming features, but I'm not sure. Let's find out how it will work. And all set to go. I will still wait a bit. And even what is totally against because I'm always babbling very spontaneously, but I really felt like, okay, I have to grow up a bit, not too much. No, I'm kidding. And so I made a list with some a thread for tonight, and maybe on some other part of the world it's maybe earlier in the afternoon, or even later in the night, or even in the afternoon. Welcome everyone. Fortunately, everyone can rewatch it later on. Well, how will I start? Well, first, I see also on Twitch, everything works, the chat works. Okay, do I see the chat on? Yes, all right. I see everything. Welcome also everyone on Twitch. I'm not sure if it shows on the chat here. It should show as well on the chat on screen. So let me check first before I continue. Okay. So I feel a bit rusty to go live again. But I managed to get some energy, and also because today I went live yesterday already to announce for today, and well, I bumped today into even after I went live. Because as you know, I always start with also the update about my healing process of the MKUltra. And I always hope that finally I can a bit leave it to the background, the whole MKUltra stuff. Not to forget it, but just, I also want to have my life, of course. And I realized today again that I was confronted with remains, or I think a root of programming, and it had to do with my hair color, my hair dye. As of late, maybe last couple of weeks, I had the feeling, do I really like my red dyed hair, and specifically the very, very bright orangey color I had. I now don't have that bright any longer, although it looks on the live stream very reddish, but it's hazelnut color with a red shine. So I like it very much. But I realized why I last couple of days felt like I'm not feeling comfortable any longer. And I realized that it was not only because I felt I looked at times a bit clownish or younger. And then the whole color experience with finding the right dye, which is not harmful for the hair and the skin and so on. And I felt like there's something else going on. But besides that, I was confronted already when I started to be changed that color of the hair, that I bumped into when I am on the street. And that's really, I'm not kidding, but and I don't and I hate generalizing things, but it is true from my own experience, and specifically because I like my hair loose, and that's not only because I feel more comfortable with that, because of the trauma as a child that my mom torn me over the street in the place where I lived in Holland. And in the Netherlands. Why do I say Holland? I don't know. And that she grabbed my hand, and I was screaming and crying across the street to the hairdresser that I did not want to have cut my hair. I had beautiful long hair. And somehow I always felt like I will never ever cut my hair. And hair is very, for me, it maybe sounds maybe weird, but for me, my hair and long hair is holy or something. Kind of my holy. It's very essential to me. But yeah, everyone is different in that. But that I also, because I have my hair loose, I bike a lot, I walk a lot, and walk the dogs. And of course, I'm very recognizable, which is also nice because people recognize me far easier when I walk the dogs. That's nice. But it's really true that specific, typical men of certain age and higher up, that the looks, and then I felt even last couple of months like, shall I, when I go outside, put on a hat or cover my hair? And then I felt like, no, that goes too far. That goes too far. And for me to be me for says also, I like my hair long too. Yeah, there is something special about it. And everyone has, of course, its own preference. But that's one thing what I always also say to my dear friend here. One thing, never, ever, if I'm no longer capable of taking care of myself, never ever let my hair cut. And that it was really, really for me very important. So, hello Nobby, I also saw you coming by. I'm not sure why the Twitch is not, well, maybe I will type something. But yeah, no, let's not do that because then I'm distracted. I trust on that when someone is on Twitch, and then maybe you can type something in the chat. So, and again, a warm welcome to everyone, and also to my new subscribers on all my platforms. Yeah, I'm so grateful for. I know that also the interview with Jane, uh, which uh, which I think also caused a lot of subscribers to join me, and I'm so thankful for that and happy about it, because I do notice that I love live streaming, but I love just interacting with you all, and that's why I started to miss it more and more. To come back, because I promised to keep the red thread for the live streams coming. That's part of my yeah, what I really want to keep hold on to. That I really, because I sometimes I go from one subject to the other, and sometimes I can go overboard with that. That is just too much, too much, that I babble and go all directions. So there is a connection error I see, but I hope I'm still live. Let me know otherwise in the chat. So to come back to the change of hair color. So again, it looks reddish during this live stream, but it is now more darker and has a light orangey shine to it. But the whole day when I was waking up, well, as you know, I have insomnia and I don't sleep well. And last night I was awake totally. And that was because thank you for mentioning it, that I'm still alive. Thank you so much. Then I know I can continue at ease. So that I realized this morning when I woke up from a very tiny bit of sleep, because maybe most of the times I fall asleep approximately between 4 and 4:30 in the morning for an hour, and then I'm awake again. And then I felt such a survival, which I for a long time didn't have any longer. And it was a survival of having shortage. And that I was worrying about the finances, and the worry about, will I ever get out of this house? Will I ever be living in my own home, in my own place? And I notice I mention it a lot in the live stream, and it's not to complain, but it's just, I mean, after 25 years deprogramming from heavy mind control and traumas, and then hoping, specifically last few years, I every time hoped, now I'm ready. Now I affirm, and with affirmations, now it will come. Now it will materialize. And every time it did not do. Well, this morning I had back the feeling of, now I'm back again in a total survival of shortage. And will I ever get my finances up to a level that I can very relaxed have a living? And then I started to hear innerly songs. Suddenly, I heard from the Bee Gees, Tragedy. I don't know if you know that song of the Bee Gees, Tragedy. And looking back, I was watching on YouTube, because I am also a musician. I am a professional pianist and a piano teacher and conductor. Well, in the past, I don't do hardly anything with music any longer. But I was watching last couple of nights, very relaxing, to the, now I forgot the title, but it is a contest of singers and artists. And Britain's Got Talent, and America Got Talent. I most of the time do these compilation videos, of which I then can skip the whole audience and the applause. And for me, it's about the artist and the art of music from the heart, or singing from the heart, of the act of the art, and the rest. For me, I'm tired of all these contest shows, but that's me, you know. And then also when I'm watching something in that show, then the camera goes, in my opinion, far too much to the audience or to the panel, to the jury, to the judges, and I myself like it to have it simple and focus on the artist on stage, and then at the end the audience. But maybe it's the age. I'm 50 plus, so maybe it's the age. I'm getting old. Maybe it's just that. Hello, Nfali Sane. What a beautiful name. Welcome here. And but yeah, I was watching that, and there was also that song of the Bee Gees, something of the Bee Gees, but also Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and that comes from The Wizard of Oz with Judith Garland. And The Wizard of Oz is an important, or was an important programming in my mind control of Joseph Mengele and another guy, which was his friend. And maybe I will one day reveal who that other guy is, but it's also my genetic father. He's one of the most cruel ever, at least in history, being noted as the most evil man in history. I have interesting thoughts about that because he was my dad, and I know he was influenced and mind controlled himself, and he was kept mentally ill, of which that only increased, and of which I will talk later on in the live streams about my rediscoveries. And actually it felt a bit like rebirthing with my origin. So also the quantum field and the quantum science and quantum energy and the black matter and so on, where I also was brought to in all these horrific traumas, and also the black ops in that secret military army where I was commander. I know it's a lot maybe for people, so I will go back to what I promised, to go back to why I changed my color back to my more the color which I love and always liked most. That was actually deep brown, almost black. I'd rather have it black, but I know I'm very pale, so, and when you're getting older, I am a bit vain, I am, but on a healthy level, I think. So, and, but that Somewhere Over the Rainbow suddenly started to sing innerly in my head. Those are remains of what I had as former inner voices. So that was my split up system, which all has been solved and integrated. And in my previous live streams on my channel, I have a playlist all organized that you can, if you like, watch what is MKUltra if you're not familiar with it. Also some interviews, of course also with Jane about the book, and about then the specific, that I am genetic from a certain queen of England. And I don't want to mention too much the name, because then I already know that some people think like, okay, I will click off from this YouTube video or Twitch or wherever you watch this. And I truly have that passion from when I was already a little girl, that I felt that incredible passion that for the freedom for all beings and to talk the truth about what I endured, but also that my heritage will be proven. And not only for me, for myself, but also for all the other victims, and that there was heavily experimented in also World War II, for example, but also by my programmer Joseph Mengele. And I came from a genetic experiment with this queen and that father, and it was a special mixture of hidden bloodlines, and I am the daughter of these two. And it's, people can watch my live streams in the past, and I have always said this, not that I mentioned any names, but that I always craved for that my identity will be proven, because the documents are there. And Queen Elizabeth had the documents because she passed away, of course. But I know that she has the documents, and not only she, but also some in her private secretary department. And so, but I already went away from the thread. So to come back to that, the connection to the red hair, and that I felt lately, I don't feel comfortable any longer with that bright orange hair dye. And then after that, Somewhere Over the Rainbow of Judith Garland, it's like an inner radio. So I'm totally aware of it. I'm totally conscious about what is happening. I am, for years already, I have no lost time, which is the case with a lot of MPS, multiple personality syndrome, which I had, obviously. And I had in the 10,000s of personalities. And that sounds weird, but yeah, I went through them in these 25 years. Then in that voluntary isolation. So to come back to that programming, when I heard that, the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, then suddenly a Dutch nursery rhyme. Hi Lily, also welcome. Nice of you to all, also who are watching and not active in the chat. You're very welcome to say maybe just hi, or from where you are watching, from which country. I'm very curious. So, again, to come back to the red thread, I have here my list to keep to my thread, what I wanted to talk about, the subjects. And I'm laughing, but I felt really bad. Also, when I went live a couple of times in the afternoon to do a sound test today, I really felt bad. And I just felt like, okay, just go live, don't show your face, and check the audio, because I wanted to have the mic fixed and not having audio problems and technical issues when I start a live stream. And accidents happen always with some issues, but it's nice that it went fluently now. But I felt really, really, really bad. And in that poverty programming, then that Dutch nursery rhyme, for the people in the Netherlands maybe recognize that that song, and that is, I can sing it, but I haven't sung for many years, so I apologize for my crooked voice, but it is in Dutch, and I will translate it after I sang it. Grote klokken zeggen bim bam, kleine klokken zeggen tikke takken, en de kleine polshorloges zeggen tikke takken, tik. So it's about a clock, a big clock goes bim bam, then a smaller clock goes bim bam, so a bit quicker in, of course, going, how you say that? Going back and forth. And then the watch, the wristwatch, then was tick-tock, tick-tock, and in the old times, I come from the 60s. I was born 60s, late 60s. So then I still had the watches with the real tick-tock. I did like them as well. So then I heard that song, and it was a song which I already had in my years ago of deprogramming, that it came up to the surface from a layer which was called the Wizard of Oz programming. And the Wizard of Oz programming was always done also on worldly base already in my time and with my dad. I really have to be careful that I won't mention his name. Maybe it will be revealed after the book has been published. Might not, I don't know. To come back to that song, and with this dad and with Joseph Mengele, I was put in a giant clock, and he called it die Glocke, or das Glocke. And das Glocke is also connected to the whole Tesla frequency, the crystal energy, crystal liquid. There is already for ages crystal liquid on the earth, also in the inner earth. And these giant cogs, which were found in the past, and I saw crystal-like liquid, and I was also experimented with via crystal-like liquid through my veins and heart. And I was also chosen because not only my bloodlines, but I could endure these crystal liquid experiments and tortures through my heart and veins. And they called me Miracle Heart. And that's another story which I had an extended live stream. Maybe it's still up on my channel, but I have no time to go through all my live streams of the past. But I want also for 2026 to re-release again all their live streams, of which I think had good information about how deprogramming went and goes. But this Glochen was again connected to the Wizard of Oz programming and to the girl Dorothy. And I had 2 braids in the programming. When I was put in the Dorothy altar and personality, I also wore the dress of Dorothy and had the 2 braids. And my dad and Joseph Mengele specifically loved me act as Dorothy, and Joseph Mengele built me a giant dollhouse. And when I was already very little, like a toddler, it was like you also see in gardens, like a giant dollhouse. But that was specifically built for me in a hangar where I also sometimes saw private planes and sometimes the Air Force One. I came from the Air Force One and then was brought there, but then also was then programmed and traumatized with the dollhouse. But to come back to Das Glocken, where I was put in, that radiation, and with the crystal liquid and my heart and the specific programming, I could manage to be in that giant clock, which my dad possessed and had in his possession. He was, by the way, also because of that mind control by the elite and by the so-called, you can call it Satanists, they all work together. It's one giant deep state. It's one big giant group who work together, and within that group people are fighting for more power, but in general they are working together. So I was put there, and that was also for me connected to the programming of the Dorothy programming. The Dorothy programming not only was connected to the bell, to the bell of the churches. It was also connected to, for example, the bell of the Dutch church of the village where I lived in the Netherlands. And you had also, at least in the past where I lived, I came from a Catholic background when I was in my front life in the Netherlands. And there you had a small tower and a giant Glocken tower. Alice says, she says it in Dutch. I think you already told in the past who your father was, because he died. Yes, he was one of the 4 programmers. Yes, I did mention, sometimes I did mention, it's slip of the tongue that I mentioned him. That's right, Alice. And I klopt, Alice. And for me to be me for... It's an amazing username, but handful to pronounce. I'm very interested in the Wizard of Oz growing up. It has always been my favorite. Yes, I loved Wizard of Oz. I loved Judy Garland. I love these old movies, and specifically the original one. But I also loved the Wizard of Oz from Michael Jackson. I went to the movies and saw him there at the movies and in that movie. So, and I love that one as well with Diana Ross. But later on, I realized that it was so hidden, the whole relationship with him, that it sadly enough was also used for my programming. But maybe you recall that in that movie there was a giant red apple, which was instead of the sun with the sunrise, then you saw that red apple go to the sunrise and then to the sunset. And that was a programming like the yellow brick road. It's all was programming. And I can do many live streams about only the Wizard of Oz programming. But it's more to explain that when that hit me today, that nursery rhyme, and I couldn't get it, and it was a long time ago that I couldn't get from the Bee Gees, now Tragedy, and Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then that nursery rhyme, and that was like a radio in Italy. It went on and on and on, and I felt so bad and in survival. And meanwhile, I went on my bike to go exchange some stuff, because a couple of days ago, I had to return some things and, return some money, which also went wrong. Of course, that goes together with not feeling well, feeling well grounded, and then things like that happen in the energy. But then I kept on hearing over and over and over. And then suddenly, after when I went twice to do the sound check, to have the sound fixed for this evening, for the live stream, and then I stood in front of the mirror. And the mirror is very interesting subject as well. And the mirror is very twisted also by the history. The history is so twisted. Hi Yvonne, I see you on Twitch and on YouTube. Thank you so much. I already saw you coming by. Nice of you to chat in the Twitch. Now I know that Twitch also is showing on the live stream, I believe. And but yeah, that's the you see now I lose my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that I felt. Even after these two sound checks, then I stood in front of the mirror. And the mirror was also a heavy programming in me in several ways. I can do also a live stream only on that subject. This is in between also request for if you feel like that I should have a certain subject, like I mentioned, or the mirror, or these corks I saw in the inner earth. The old machines, and that the humanity was far more advanced than what people always show, and even the media. The history is being changed, and because I recall now my own memory bank also in the programming, and as commander in that secret army. Now things got together for me. That is connected also to the quantum field, to the quantum knowledge and science, and Tesla, of course. And fortunately, a lot of this knowledge is already surfacing last couple of years, more and more, while this world also is stumbling and turning, and I see the chaos even increase still, but I do see good changes as well. And I think it is all meant to wake up the beings, all people. That and I hope that also the people who don't dare to speak out also get their voice back and speak out what your truth is. And that my heart, I have such passion for the truth and for the new world. And I know now, since I am whole enough, I am no longer doubting that this good timeless of goodness for all and happiness for all, that it is possible. And it is already here. It is already present. And that is what I all recalled by reconnecting to who I am. That's the good news. I go back to when I stood in front of the mirror, and then I felt so awful, and that song about the clock. I always want now I want to speak German. That's what happens sometimes. Then my brain is hitting a certain I'm talking about it because I share it with the world and with you all. So then I bump into some remains of my programming. So dann wollte ich nur Deutsch sprechen. So that's really awful because that is now disturbing me in the English talk. It's very, but I'm used to it, so that's okay. So I was in front of the mirror, and then you see my eyes go a bit up because then I want to say, and in front of their Spiegel. But anyhow, it's just to show how that goes with being a former mind-controlled survivor. Is still some remains. By the way, I see some more comments and maybe questions. I will go dive into the chat, not literally, of course, and then I will maybe see your questions or your remarks, and I will then mention that in after I have done with this subject. So in front of the mirror, and then I watched and I talked to that inner part in me, like see me through my eyes looking at you, so the mirror image. And the mirror image is like that I then a bit stare. I don't stare literally to my own mirror image, but what I do is that I then go a bit higher with my eyes, and then I focus on go inside, but also make contact with who is on the other side of the mirror. And maybe that is also maybe a tip for also survivors or people who are starting the deprogramming, or maybe this can inspire people or victims or survivors to go deeper in the root programming, to make connection to that mirror part, because almost all MKUltras, for sure the ones of my generation, with then the Mengele programming, and then of that certain guy from World War II, my dad. And I'm talking then about end of the 60s to early 70s, because my dad, my biological dad, he died when I was very little, and there's also a lot of misinformation about him. There is a picture circling around him that he was killed, but it was a substitute, and I also could see it. It's not a real, it's a real dead body, but it's a look-alike, and it's not him. I can surely tell you it's not him, because first of all, my dad was never, ever slim. He was pretty, he loved food, he loved the right food, organic food. He was very, very typical about food. He took care of that he always had good quality food, the best quality ever, and very typical. And he loved, he was never that skinny, and he didn't have large ears. So, and it was not him. That's my opinion. I knew him personally, so. And so then I met in front of the mirror, and then I got out of that certain making contact with the mirror image, and then I suddenly was in a certain reliving. My relivings, that's a side note, are no longer that I am crawling along the floor or that I am shivering. I had all kinds of symptoms, or that I wanted to hit myself. I had self-harm layers, but it was in the past, but I never really harmed myself. Fortunately, God and angels protected me that I would never be harmed again. And of course, Michael Jackson did also his part on deprogramming. That is a book on its own. I think if Jane is listening, then she's laughing, because I talk about it a lot. Like, I have so many. I know my life is complex, dear people. I know there might be people who want to just click that button, thinking of, I am done. What? Now she says this? What? Now she says that? I understand. But what? That's the only thing what I can say about it. What if it is all true? what if I have that original task, a mission in life, which I already knew as a small child, that I would tell this story, I would tell this truth, and that the proof will come out about my origin, and that I am the original coming from the original, well, let's say royal lineage. And it's not about that I have to be royal. No, everyone is royal. Everyone wears a crown, an energetic crown of God's kingdom. That's how I love to call it, or the quantum field, or the all, or the non-duality. It's how you call it. But it is a certain feeling of unconditional love, but also for yourself. And Yvonne says, I know your story for a long time. Yeah, I know, Yvonne. I hope I don't bore the people who watch it regularly. But yeah, there are a lot of new people here, and I am then so in my passion for this truth, and I am just still very lonely, very alone physically, not innerly any longer. I went through that last year. I talked about it in a previous live stream, but I am craving for, again, connect socially, and well, craving, of course, to be with my love of my life. But yeah, that's also a complex story on its own. And this week there are weeks when it's a bit at the background, when I miss him. But then I dream again of him, and then I am missing him so much. And that was this week also the case, that I just miss him. And yeah, then I only can become silent of missing him, and I know I have no solution to it than only speaking my truth, and speaking my emotions, and speaking how I deprogram and how I survived, and tell my story and go live with you all. So I was standing in front of that mirror, and then I made contact with that, but then the horrific trauma came forward. So to come back to that reliving, if I relive, then it's no longer that physical that I have these symptoms of or behavior. I just stay very conscious and calm, and I'm the grown-up who guides that inner part who is in a reliving. But then I got from my inner Dorothy personality the answer like, you triggered me. I couldn't escape any longer. Specifically last few weeks, and specifically when you went live yesterday, because that inner part, like a mirror, when I go live, then these parts, now and then I have to check my live, of course my recording, and then she was triggered by that because she hated the orange hair. And then the trauma came forward that she, by my main programmers, and specifically by my dad and by Mengele, with Joseph Mengele, that I had to, and this can be a trigger warning. I try to be as integer as possible with describing horrific details of trauma, but that my hair was also washed in blood, and also there was dye put through it, and she had to wash her hair with blood of other victims in the satanic rituals and so on. So, and then I stared in the mirror, and then I only could say, like, because I'm healed so much, and I already went through so many traumas that I am no longer in shock. But it was so incredible that I felt like, oh, here we have another variation of another trauma, which I never had before. This was new to me, this typical detail of a trauma and a programming. And by the way, these traumas, and I know the people who already know me know it already a lot, because I mentioned that about live streams, that the traumas are needed as much as possible continuously during the programming overall, but also keep on going, even as grown up. The traumas need to be kept going. And this is why many personalities increase when you get older and older as an MKUltra or as a split up person. Because if it's not being fixed from within and the deprogramming starts not young enough, then all these layers, it's like an onion. And the thicker and bigger the onion, the older, the more difficult it is to deprogramming. And Michael knew that. And Michael started to deprogram me. And he helped me fix the suicidal layers and the self-harm layers. Because otherwise I would have self-harmed myself by cutting myself. That was my self-harm programming. I never revealed that, but I went through it with my dear friend, and I felt protected by beings, and I never ever harmed myself. And I'm so grateful for that. And another self-harm was also the bulimia and anorexia nervosa, which the eating disorders. Yeah, I have the most incredible combinations of programming. Yeah, sometimes use humor, dear people. So, viva voce, viva voce. Yeah, I say it in Italian. Welcome here. Is there a favorite diet way of eating that is helping in your healing process? You look very healthy. Congratulations. Very, very good question. Is there a favorite diet way of eating that is helpful? Well, for me, until only recent, my diet was disturbed. I no longer had the bulimia, I no longer had my eating disorders, but I still have that I cannot eat a lot. And if I have something nice, like small cake, and that's always then with substitute like agave syrup, ahorn syrup, and so on, or honey, but then I skip my meals. So I have to be honest, I can't give any tips, only that, yeah, the only tip what I do for myself is that if I ever feel the urge to overeat, because if I overeat, that triggers my bulimia, can trigger my bulimia, but I don't overeat any longer. So if I can give one tip is don't overeat and wait 20 minutes and go do something with your hands, do a craft, so do creativity. That's not a diet, so, but it's a great question, and thank you for the compliment that I look healthy, because I do feel very well, although I feel lonely, I miss Michael. I sometimes don't know any longer how the documents ever will be revealed, and I feel that is my only reason that I'm here, that my identity is being proven, because everything else has no meaning to me besides having a loving family and being with dear friends, which I can count on one hand. It's less than one hand, I guess, who know me physically, then I know, who know everything from also the past and so on, a bit of the past. Actually, yeah, no one before 2000 is in my life any longer, so that's also since my brother, of course, passed in January, which I had contact now for a year. Again, renewed contact since 25 years, so that's very sad. I still miss him. I feel it now. So, yeah, he knows I always loved him. So, but yeah, that's... Hey, Jane! Hey, you managed to be here. Welcome. My suicide programming was to jump from a high ledge, a bridge or cliff, or through poisoning. It's why I never dared to walk across bridges, etc., or kept any kind of bleach or anything in my house. Yeah, well, that's also inner protection. I truly feel that somehow also, because as MKUltras or being programmed, we're also protected, or know somehow to not make it like in my way to cut myself. And yeah, but I had another thing also what my suicide layer was, but that's also a heavy subject. That was strangling. But yeah, strangling was also a heavy programming in me. But yeah. Welcome for everyone who might maybe only joined just now. And I go back to still subject number 1. And I have, let me see, 1, 2, 4 subjects for tonight. So, oh my gosh, and it's already 5 to 10. Oh my gosh. Jane says, do you feel toxic shame if you are every overweight? I still have, yes. Yes, I'm very honest. I still have problems with my body. With if I see, even if I see a bit more chubby, then I want to eat less, and then I do eat less a bit the days after. And I already eat not much. If people hear what I eat, and but yeah, I think it's also maybe the traumas that's still on my lower body. You never see my lower body. It also has a reason in the live streams. It's not that I'm ashamed and that I'm all the time when I walk on the street or somewhere that I then think about, oh, I'm feeling not well in my body. That's not the case. But I am aware of my lower body, which is chubbier. And I was always very teased by it at school. Maybe other former survivors or victims also recognize that. I was so teased at school. And also in my primary school in the Netherlands, in all kinds of ways, like even dirt poop was put on my dress. I had a cute soft yellow dress which the Dutch mom sewed herself. Sewing is, by the way, also another programming in me which was used, but she sewed a lot in my Dutch front life. And she made a beautiful dress, and then I came at school, and then I got bird poop on my dress, and then also another girl from my class ran after me with a baseball bat. It really happened. I had awful thing, which I never ever told in a live stream, how I was teased and joked. And I was called a certain animal. And I'm not mentioning it because I know the trolls will go away with it. And I don't care, but I'm not feeding them with that name. I did mention it once in a live stream. Jane, sorry to be so heavy, right? Well, yeah. Viva Voitje, the moment you opened your heart and started speaking, you connected with the strongest family possible, your spiritual family. Your story moves me deeply. Love you. Oh, thank you so much. Then I shine. That makes the world to me. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I hope my channel will grow. And I always forget, people who know me from live streams, I majority of times forget to ask for liking and thumbs up and for subscribing. Specifically on YouTube, I would love to do extra features, and then I can do more with the live streaming, and I can create things which I can also give back to you all, and then more secluded, but also that it's more protected and in privacy, that I can share things or back, or then I also can give back. I also love to give back, that balance of giving back. And here my dear friend says, like, oh yeah, that was also last week because of the Dorothy program and the Wizard of Oz program. I didn't dare to ask for the groceries and for some support again, and then she says, but you give me so much, because you give me healing, you give me impulse in continue for truth and for the new world, for the new earth. And yeah, that's my weak spot, that I don't dare to ask. So, but anywho, I am very grateful for your thumbs up and for the increasing subscribers, and also on Facebook. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm blessed. I feel, and also by your remark and everyone else sweet remarks. I feel loved. So, that's nice. And you are loved by me. I greet every day the whole world, all beings, and I do that since a child, even through the programming. I did, and I do. So Jane says, yes, your love shines through everything. Wow, thank you, Jane. And Jane, I hope that book will work out. Oh, I'm so passionate about it. But yeah. Yvonne says, we are the light. Yes, we are the light and God's kingdom. We are God's kingdom. We are the quantum field. If it's like a radio signal, because that's also now the quantum subject is now a subject very dear to my heart. So maybe I will talk about it today, but it's already 10 o'clock. I am now already an hour live, but I love it. Yes, it will, says Jane. Yeah, as we talked of recent, Jane, I feel we will know and we will feel it. That will be the momentum. I loved that word, momentum. And to everyone else who is also in the midst of deprogramming or trauma, healing, or physical ill or lonely. I know what loneliness is. I know what traumas are, but you are loved, and I send you in that beam of light towards your best ever timeline, which is prosperous. I love the word victorious, and it's you are it. You are yeah, you are the God's kingdom yourself, it's in you. So yeah, very passionate. I had a lot of initiations when I was in that incredible loneliness. So, but I hope the subject of In the Mirror and the Dorothy programming and the Wizard of Oz programming, if some of you maybe have questions about this, what I talked about, then please ask, or a subject. Another thing, what I wanted to mention was, I should have written the name, but there was a very dear lady who commented me on one of my live streams, and she asked me something about the African American history, and that I talked about it in one of the live streams, that the history is crooked and changed. And I wanted to look up your name again, but I forgot. I was in a hurry going live, and as always, I had shortage of time, so I apologize. But I will touch upon this subject in a live stream separately. But I wanted to respond shortly that the Moors, for example, the Moorish and the Moors, they have a lot of the truth about the true origin of the Afro-Americans. And I'm very mixed about that word Afro-American, because Michael is Afro-American. And yeah, the origin is very interesting. The origin of people on Earth. And that, for example, what I can say is that, for example, the native Indians of America, when I talk about it, I always feel a lump in my throat, because that must be some past life or something, or the subject, but I always get emotional when I cannot watch any movies about where native Indians are being killed or being threatened. I never, even these oldies you had in these older movies, a lot of Indian movies, and I never could watch when they were massacred. And I had already years ago, even before I knew it was MKUltra, I did rituals, Indian rituals, which I never knew that they were real native Indian rituals. I had a pretty interesting life even before I knew it was MKUltra, because I met someone in the USA who told me that I did a ritual which was known to be a ritual, a sacred ritual on that specific spot in Utah, one of my favorite areas in the US. And that's a story on its own. It's very moving. Maybe I will tell that also. But I wander off again, I notice. Oh yeah, about the Native Americans, that that is then the history of the slavery. I apologize for the word, but the and slavery. Those many of the Afro-Americans have their heritage from these Native Americans, and it is Native. Native Americans. Yeah, it's very interesting, and I don't know everything. There are many more sources who have more knowledge about it, and I wanted to dive into it and maybe do a special live stream on it, but I really want to study then more, and also more about the Moors and so, and that I can also come with facts. I like that. Jane says, the new movie about Michael will be released this month. Yeah, and I did not watch anything about it. And yeah, it's too painful. And it sounds weird that every time I have to cry, because there's one thing what is missing. I am not part of it. I am not part of it. And that's really deep hurt in me. And I'm not some crazy fan. No, I'm just, yeah. But yeah, Jane. It is, and also people, I did talk about it sometimes in the live stream. It's a tough subject. I want to talk about him. I even wanted to also, oh yeah, that was also part of my plans for 2026. Let me know also if you rewatch later on this live stream in the comments below. If you would love to have a live stream specifically about Michael and my memories with him. And I would love to. Because in that way, I feel him even nearer, and then I can a bit balance the missing out in that, yeah. It is so extraordinary in my life, I know. But yeah, I will stop because I'm speechless. And but yeah, the movie will be released, yeah. And I'm not sure if I ever would be able to watch it, but let's see. I'm curious, Jane, if you watched it, I'd love to know your opinion or what you felt like, because I know, I think also Prince is involved, one of the son. And I say the son a bit with distance, but yeah, I just want the documents to be released, and I know they will. I don't doubt it, because that's not a subject, maybe a bridge to subject, because the subject Michael is for me now so complex. I want to talk about him, but I get emotional, and then I feel like, okay, I have already so many truths, which I say is the truth, like being the daughter of Queen Elizabeth, being the daughter of that certain father, being having been MKUltra. Joseph Mengele was my programmer. So then also, all right, Michael Jackson, yeah. I don't know. I'd love to hear your feedback on it. Is it too much? Am I too much? I think I am enough. That's also a beautiful word. Dear victims and survivors, tell yourself every day, I am enough. and then do this a couple of times, like I am enough. By now it is a dear friend of mine, of which I dog sit, but he showed me that, and I was touched by it. Like, for example, what is also put away from history, what changed with also, sadly enough, also with a lot of churches. I mean the evil people, the evil people who wanted to twist the history, not the people themselves. But that, for example, like you see Maria, Holy Mary, or statues like this. And I was moved when he told me, like, there is a certain statue in a certain country. He told me, I think it was more in the East, and there you had that pointing to here. It's in you. You are the world. You are God's kingdom. It's here. And that Maria statue, that Holy Maria, Heilige Maria standbeeld, that you see her really pointed at here, her heart, here. And it's a very important thymus gland behind the breastbone. So maybe a tip for survivors or victims, or even people who suffer from trauma and have energy levels which drop, because next to the vulnerability with my eating patterns, next to that is my energy and my insomnia. I don't sleep, and if I fall asleep, then I have very vivid dreams, and lately a lot with Michael. But yeah, it gives energy to pronounce that, like, I am enough. And look at yourself in the mirror, and dare to look at yourself in the mirror, and talk to the mirror image. You're not crazy. It really works. You get insights, which is incredible. Talk to your mirror image, because mirrors were once very, very holy, ancient instruments, actually, could also even be dangerous. And that's the connection towards another, where I was also used for in the MKUltra, in the secret ops, that I was brought to sacred items, which were also mentioned in the Bible. But that's also a live stream. How many live streams do we have already in the pocket? Anyhow, okay. What do I have on my list? I made a list there, people. I have a red thread. And meanwhile, let me know if you have questions, or likes to have a subject, because I have so many subjects. Actually, I went through a lot already. I think if I now go too deep in the whole quantum field and memory, I think I will keep that for the next live stream. And because I also, most of the times when I am live, so towards the 1 hour and a half, then I am done. I'm very tired. So maybe we can do the last quarter of an hour or last half an hour just talking, or maybe questions, more questions. I love more questions. I want questions. I did have another subject, but I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot about people who were longer following me. Maybe you notice it, I smile. Part of my own bit shame for my body was that I usually, when I went live, that I wanted to avoid showing the part of my teeth which was missing a tooth. And I'm pointing to the right, it is this one. And now I can smile fully. So I had a lot of, I smile now, but it was for a year that I wore invisible braces, and my dentist is awesome. I love him. It's a wonderful dentist, and he was so patient, and he could feel that I was traumatized, and he was one of the first dentists ever. I told him about also how you say that, how the my trauma passed. So Susan Moe, hi, I've missed a lot of this. Sorry. Oh well, maybe a tip, Susan. Yeah, you're now of course live and immediately response also from me when you put something in the chat, but because you can pause the video, put it on pause, and then slide fully to the beginning of the live stream, and then you can have the whole live stream from the beginning. But then if you put something in the chat, then I don't get it, only later on. So you will be not live in the live, if you know what I mean. But welcome, and thank you so much for your sweet comments also on my videos, and that counts for everyone. But to come back to, so I had not Invisalign, I had Ordoline. And it's not to make an advertisement, but it's just that I was, because of that, because it's a cheaper way, and with my great dentist and with his patients, because every time, specifically with a lot of drilling, and I had a lot of aching tooth and teeth, and oh, it was, well... Some of you might recognize it. There comes a moment when teeth just show the traumas, and also the eating disorders. For anyone who had eating disorders, specifically bulimia, I now found out the remains of it, that it gives just bad teeth, although I did take care of my teeth. And since I started deprogramming, and the whole bulimia and anorexic was heavier than ever in the whole deprogramming in the beginning years. And I ruined my teeth. So to everyone who is suffering from bulimia, if there's one reason I hope to invite you and give an impulse to stop the bulimia, is that it will harm your teeth. And it's not to threaten, but I hope it can. I hope it can give some impulse, because it's really hard to lose teeth and to have pain. And now still I have things to do to fix on my teeth, but that will be next year. I have to save and do a lot of dog and cat sitting, and then I manage it. But I'm very grateful because I dare to smile fully, and I'm so happy with my smile and my teeth, and yeah, that's also great to experience. And also during the live, when I sometimes check if everything still runs with the recording, I'm so grateful for this. And yeah, I wish I did it sooner. And also, by the way, to come back to the eating disorder and specifically the bulimia, like, if there's one thing what you can do, unfortunately I found out too late, while I went after all these years heavily bulimic behavior, is if it happens, and you know what happens with bulimia after the, I will not do that because I am not like that to say the word, then always drink some water and then flush it out immediately so that the acid is not ruining your teeth. And I truly sincere say this because I don't wish anyone suffering from bulimia with bad teeth. It's horrific what a pain I had. And teeth and toothache is one of the worst things ever, and my heart goes out to everyone who suffers from it, or suffered from it. And you know what I'm talking about, who went through it. So then I also updated you all about that. Let me see on my list. Yeah, that's a bit what I wanted to talk about today. Susan says, I will rewatch after. Yeah, that's the nice thing about that it will stay uploaded. I hoped I would have been live on Rumble and on Instagram, but I should have put a stream again in. I learned from that, but at least I was also on 3 channels now live. I am live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I think the stream runs smoothly. Sound has no issues, had no issues. Ivonna says on Twitch, Dr. Green. Yes, Dr. Green. Oh, that reminds me of part of also the trigger of the Dorothy programming was that I on Netflix rewatched the whole series of St. Elsewhere. St. Elsewhere, I did already talk about that in earlier live streams, that St. Elsewhere, a lot of television and drama series like also Britain's Got Talent and America Got Talent, that they were used to trigger me. And still were, because I watched some things from a few years ago. So I think there were attempts to at least trigger me. And there might also be other victims and survivors and MKUltras to trigger them. But the St. Elsewhere, like the name St. Elsewhere is also the name, you can hear the name else, so else and where. Where is it? Elsewhere. So it was also to confuse that split up alter in me, personality in me, that she would go nowhere. And it was connected to, from Joseph Mengele, I also was taught the anatomical, the body, how it worked, and specifically also for that's another subject, but when I was part of the assassin programming, not proud of it, still hard for me to mention it, but my dear friend here says, you were that as well, and it's important that I dare to speak out, that I was also used for that, and that I was forced for that to do that, sadly enough. And that anatomically I was taught to know the ways where all the organs were, etc. and are, because organs are still, of course, present in everybody. But yeah, I'm laughing. And laughing is, most of the time, is my way of compensating the harsh subject and tough subject, like also the word assassin, that I was used for that in the Black Widow programming. And now I remember what I also wanted to talk about it, which I did not add to the list, with the plans. Yes, that's the next item. The plans for 2026. You see, I have a new section. Yeah. So the plans for 2026. Well, I did something. I was trying out on my X, formerly Twitter. I still don't get it. Why did they change it into X? Why not keep it Twitter? But anyway, I'm not the only one who thinks about that. And on Twitter, I was a year ago very, 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 very driven to get more followers on my X account. And there I felt like, okay, now I can maybe go live and so on. And there you have the AI feature. And then I made a video because I thought, what would happen if I would just make a short video in which I then say, hi, I am Elizabeth, and I am the daughter of Queen Elizabeth II. And I recorded that, and then I asked the AI Croc to change it into a picture, to change it into a moving animation and a video. And I played a bit with photos from Elizabeth when she was crowned. I got some weird creations, And this is also a subject with which I wanted to talk about this evening next to the quantum field, but it's almost 10:30. I have energy enough, it's not that, so I can go on a bit. But that AI part, and I almost wanted to show you tonight, but it's connected to my plans for 2026 because I am going, and also to put my programming of the sewing, which my Dutch mom traumatized in me, and Mengele, Joseph Mengele, with the sewing machine. I am going to sew a Victorian dress. Yeah. And I'm not kidding. I already, I had it here with me. Wait. Yeah. I had it here. Wait. Where is it? Okay, well, that will be in the next live, but I have a pattern, and I felt also like, okay, and of course my dear friends supported me again, and together with my working as a dog and cat sitter, then I managed, and I had a great idea. I thought, which is compared a bit to the dollar store. In the Netherlands it's called differently, but you can compare it to the dollar store or the Dollar Tree shops in the US. And then I felt like, why don't I just buy some covers, blankets, or what you say, dekbed? What's the translation of dekbed in duvan? Well, it's the covers for over that fluffy blanket on your bed. Maybe someone in the chat from the US or Britain knows the word for that. Dekbed is it in Netherlands? But now I lose my thread. What was I saying? Help me, what was I talking about? Oh my gosh. Now I lost my thread. Oh yeah, then I was thinking like I will buy some covers in nice colors. And some ribbon, and we have already a sewing machine here and some thread. So I'm going to sew a queen's dress. And I will show it in a live stream in a special edition maybe. And yeah, maybe if people are enthusiastically, I will maybe do more live streams about it, or maybe do a specific video playlist about it, a duvet cover. Oh, thank you, Yvonne. Fro, duvet cover. I don't know what you mean with fro, but at least I did, and then I bought me some covers at the dollar store here in the Netherlands, or I say it in Dutch, Zebel, action, and so on. Should I say more, because I make, and it's no advertisement, but and now I have a beautiful combination, and it went all in a flow. But I know I triggered myself by already doing this, so it will be fun to show it, to show you the result, and it also motivates me to keep going and sewing. And I'm now doing the cutting of the dress. And another thing what I started is diamond painting, and I might go live if I have no subject to talk about it. And then I want to experiment with my webcam and another camera, or my webcam flat, and then you can see my hands and working on the diamond painting. And I'm just then sharing about my daily life and the deprogramming and how it's going. I must say, I am so happy and so joyful that I'm really happy with this live stream, and that I had subjects enough. And I hope that I can continue with going live, because I talked earlier about my energy drops, my levels. If someone has a tip for that, who is experienced in deprogramming, I can be so tired in my head. And I also have a lot of times ear aching, but also the edge of the skull here behind, that aches like crazy, and then here also, and when I press it, then it's painful, and I know it's the traumas. I know traumas work like that. When you're traumatized so often like that, then you have achy spots on your body. I also have at times even bruises on weird spots, like my arms or my thighs. And that's still that I'm recovering from all these actually lifetime eating disorders and maybe also the traumas. And that I'm now whole enough and that everything... Oh yeah, another thing, what I might maybe also will continue do or will do in the live stream is coloring. My artistic feeling and my creativity was totally blocked last year. And I mean also whole 2025. So that also started only a few weeks ago, that I started to get incredible boost in creativity. And this is why I start my sewing project, but also to keep busy, because then I don't feel too much that I'm physically very alone. And I am now starting to color, and this is color by number. So this mandala, and I love it. I don't know if you can see the colors, but I love it. And so that's awoken in me as well. But I was totally blocked. I hated sketching. I just, yeah. And that has now, I'm in a reliving of that. So I came back alive in that. So, that's part of the plan for 2026. And going more live. So I try to do weekly live, and I also will go live soon in Dutch. And that will be next week, because we have the Easter weekend coming. So I don't think that people will watch a live stream, for example, on Saturday afternoon. Maybe there are people are interested, but yeah, that's also part of the plan. And of course, I still have the GoFundMe running. The link is on my social media, and yeah, I hope that at least I can hire one guy, one great guy I met who might do this for me as security. And yeah, I mean also in the Netherlands somewhere, and or in abroad. I hope to travel soon. I am so craving for life. I literally have come back to life specifically last couple of weeks since I came after the total loneliness. I cannot describe on my YouTube. You have the live stream in which I talk about it, but I was a ghost. I was not there any longer. That I survived. I still don't get it that I survived. I was so worn out. I did not like to do anything, nothing. And then I still went for cat and dog sitting, and I still did everything, and in a certain way liking it. And I got back a lot from the animals I took care of in the house. I realized also something else with the dog and cat sitting, that I love taking care of the houses of the people. And to leave it neat and nice behind, also in energetic level. It's amazing. I discovered that. I loved it, and I got to know new places in the Netherlands, like the north of the Netherlands. Around Lelystad and Almere. I love it. Susan Mo says, did I pronounce your name right, by the way? Susan Mo or Susan Mao? So I apologize if I pronounce it incorrectly. Animals heal you. Yes, animals heal. And I am specifically connected to cats. And this is why you see this beautiful cat of Lego. I still miss a physical cat. I mean, the physical cat. Well, that sounds so weird. Yeah, it's part of wanting my own place. And then I should not say wanting, because that's the whole quantum energy in me which is awakened, and my origin in the non-duality. I live already my new life. I live in the here and now, the total amazing right timeline, the best timeline ever. And that is my goal. And not my goal, but it is already there. And I think I will continue about the quantum field in the next live stream, because I feel my energy drops, and I'm very enthusiastically about talking about it. And let me know again in the comments if you like that subject. Please let me know. I would love to, and also how you are all doing, and from which country are you watching, and how did you find me? I'd love to. And again, for these plans for 2026, I would love to meet my Dutch friends and to meet you in real life, in person. That would be awesome. Doesn't have to be big. Just in maybe somewhere else in the Netherlands, maybe in the beautiful countryside somewhere. If someone has an idea or a place, or maybe a location which they know, or maybe someone who's listening in the Netherlands has a place of which is nice to have a tiny public. I'm just creative with my thoughts. I'm really craving for contact and talk, do a lecture. I crave for being in the world, seen, not only in a recording, in a live stream. Even a quantum field is energy, and that's what we are. The quantum field is energy, exactly, and it is about how you connect to it, how you are in that quantum field, and that it is there. And I knew already about other dimensions. But it's very interesting. It's an incredible journey where I'm in now, and I think 2026 will be a roller coaster of events worldwide. And my heart goes out to everyone, every single being who is harmed by also what is being created for far too long to get a certain dark elite, the powers and the satanic stuff and the whole evil forces. I'm with you, my heart is with you, and I connect to everyone, to just because we're all, I had an incredible insight also because I was inspired. Then I will quit the live stream after this. But very amazing that's the whole synchronicity, that the breath we breathe in, the air we breathe in, it was so awesome. I was moved when I saw also a video about it. I came across it in my YouTube feed about a tree. A tree lives from the carbon dioxide. I hope I pronounce it, the oxygen. But in the oxygen is all us. Everyone is in it. All particles of us is in the air we breathe in. So we breathe in each other. We are each other. We are all one. We are individuals and unique, but that was an incredible awareness. I already felt it in other layers in me and other examples, but yeah, I love trees. I love trees. That's a subject on its own. I love willow trees. I love all types of trees. I'm not someone who hugs trees, no. I'm someone who touches trees, so to feel the tree and just to hold it, but also to lean against it. It's an amazing feeling, trees. But yeah, the air we breathe in, we're connected. Everyone is connected. So also the ones who are influenced by bad and negative energy. Yeah, somehow I feel very positive about this because, yeah, we are all lights. So if we are the light, the more we are the light, the more I feel in the light and in the right best ever timeline, which is fitting for me, which is my best and true timeline, which was meant to be in and with that God's kingdom, then that will also brighten up everyone around me. Because the air I breathe is also breathing out and going, circulating through the other air. Yeah, it's a bit philosophic maybe, but I'm very philosophic. I'm a philosopher as well. I might not show that always in the live stream, but I am. I always was. Truthiness, hi dear friend. Oh, it moves me to see you in the chat. And I'm moved by being live again. But Truthiness says each of us is a face of the divine. Oh, beautiful described. Beautiful described. Yeah. How are you doing? And how is everyone doing? Also, write down in the comments. I always react. And you can also see that when you look back at my other live streams, I try to respond as quick as I can. So don't hesitate to comment. And I don't know if you were already watching earlier Truthiness, but I am about to go to a finish of this live stream. Well, I tried to already for half an hour, but Nobby says, I love the herbal weeds. Yeah, that's, well, the herbal weeds, they're also amazing. Some of them. No, actually weeds are also God's creation. Also, everything is love. Yeah, I really changed after this year. I really changed inwardly, and I can truly say this from my heart, that love is the answer. Lita. And that's not my invention, that word, by the way, but I don't think I should mention who that invented, but love is the answer. And say to yourself, I am enough. That's also not coming from me. And that's also part of it. Like, that is also an example of we all are being inspired, if you want to be led inspired, of course, and if it's fitting, because everyone is unique. But we also can inspire each other, and everything is already there, is already in the quantum field. So what you feel like, this is what I want to be, put a cross through the wanting, and say, I am who I want to be. I am, and I am enough. For me, it worked amazing after that year of full total loneliness, that I wanted to quit. Not life, because I will never quit life. But, yeah. So, dear people, I will wait a bit for some questions. I will also go to Facebook, because I did not check there if there are comments. It's mostly quiet in... Oh! Facebook was an hour live. Okay. Huh? Okay, Facebook has quit. So, I don't know why, but... That's weird. Has someone experienced with Facebook why it was only for an hour? Well, I let go. So, that was, yeah. I think this was enough for today. Thank you all for watching. And I love you all dearly. And again, for everyone who's dealing with trauma or with hard time, loneliness, you are not alone. And send you love, positive vibes, and all goodness for everyone. And yeah, thank you all for who was in the chat and is in the chat, and hope to see you next week, because Thursday will be the fixed evening that I will go live from 9 o'clock in the evening. And Yvonne also says, we are not alone. Yes. And I still keep saying, I say yes to evil. Yes to evil? What am I saying now? That's my tiredness. You see, that's what happens. I say no to evil. Why did I say that? Oh, it was such a beautiful live stream, and then I say this. I mean, of course, no to evil. I wanted to say yes to goodness, but I scrambled it up. But it's my tiredness, dear people. So maybe I will. I think I will trim it from the live stream. I'm tired. I should have stopped already minutes ago. Viva Voitje says, thank you for your courage and precious time. Yeah, thank you for being here. And hope to see you next time. Okay. Lovely people. Much love, peace and joy. Very important too. Thank you, Lily. Dankjewel. What? Oh, truthiness. Truthiness. I always wanted to quit the live stream, but there comes a great question. Because I was very aware of that also last week. And since I came out of that lonely year, what would you like to say? So I'm still not ending the live stream. What would you like to say about forgiveness? That I realized that now I truly feel I am part of God's kingdom, that it's in me, that I went into the deepest level of forgiveness, I think. Also towards, and that's a whole other subject to, for example, my mom and dad, my true mom and dad, and that, and also to others who did harm me, because I went already through forgiveness. But I can truly say that it freed me from the contact with God's kingdom and being in God's kingdom, and that it's in me, and that I represent God's kingdom like everyone. That something happened to me that I got, I can say a lot more about all the initiations, but that's too personal for me. But that I cried when I was connecting that forgiveness specifically. It was a very moving moment. It was one of the moments that I felt like now I'm really coming a bit out of that loneliness as well. But it was an amazing experience, and it felt cleansing. Next time I will talk more maybe about it, truthiness. And I'm also tired, and dear people, I'm now really going to end this live stream. Thank you so much again. I repeat myself too much, I know. I will work on it this year. Well, maybe I will go live with diamond painting or sewing. Let me know again underneath the comments below if you would like videos like that or a combination like that. And also, I like to ask you to do the thumbs up, dus duim omhoog, liken, subscribe, specifically on YouTube. It would be awesome, because then I can do so much more if I cross a certain level of amount of subscribers. And I, of course, very honest, I want to grow with, inspiring how to be free, how to free yourself from incredible traumas and mind control and lots more, of course. And the book. And you can also see still the documentary of Pellinor Taylor. That's also still for viewable on my YouTube in a playlist. And there I talk about being Assassin and Black Widow programming. And it's recorded in Amsterdam in end of 2024, interviewed by Pelle. So also could be also interesting. And there you also can see my old teeth, my crooked teeth. But it's also charming when I look back. All right. Blessings to all, dear people, and I loved going live again, and see you next time in the next live, next Thursday. All right, bye everyone. Joke, I like you to just talk to us. I love to see you so happy now. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I like it too. Yvonne, Jesus has said, forgive them for they do not know what they have done. Yeah, that's yeah. Oh, Jesus is a giant example for me. He was also quantum or fully. He was also God's kingdom. But let's do that. I will talk next time about timelines and about dimensions and quantum field. All right, I will do that as one of the subjects for next time. And suggestions, welcome too. All right. Viva Voce, you mean well, and that's all that matters. You are breaking free from all the traumas. Exactly. Thank you so much. All right. Bye, everyone. See you next time.